The year is 1937. The world inches toward war, and in the shadows, brave fortune hunters race against ruthless organizations to claim ancient artifacts of unimaginable power. Welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. I'm Keith, and tonight we're playing Fortune and Glory, the Cliffhanger game. It's a battle to the finish. 30 fortune for heroic victory, or 15 villain points for complete global conquest. To make this playthrough even more epic, I'm combining the Treasure Hunters and Rise of the Crimson Hand expansions. This will open up the docks, giving our heroes the chance to visit seedy harbor districts in search of fame and fortune. On top of that, I'll be test driving something I've created called the Revised Land and Sea Adventure variant. It's a simple double-sided chart that will bring land and sea adventures to life. It's a simple system that will require 1 or 2 die rolls to resolve. Our starting artifacts include the Tears of Shadows, which can be found in the Amazon jungle. And we have the Shadow of Medusa, that's somewhere in Eastern Europe. Then we have the Sword of the Crimson Hand, and that can be found in Australia. Finally, we have the Temple of Power, located in New Zealand. Our heroes include Shelley Hargrove, the race car driver. She's going to begin in Paris, France. Then we have Angel Espinoza, the grease monkey, and she's going to begin in Mexico City, Mexico. And finally, we have Jenny Butler, the Hollywood actress, and she's going to start in Los Angeles. Our villainous Nazi opponents have already started their search for priceless artifacts, with Herr Ernst Teufel deployed to New Zealand, searching for the Temple of Power, while Dr. Tressa von Falkenberg awaits orders at the Reich Chancellery Building in Berlin. The Nazis have established a secret base in the Caribbean, and they've deployed their War Zeppelin. Now you'll notice that I've placed little blue cubes in the port cities on the map. These are going to replace the docks tokens. We're going to keep those in a draw bag, and when we have a docks adventure, we will simply remove the cube and draw a token from the bag. This helps to keep the game board a little less cluttered. Now I've placed colored chips on the portraits of each of our investigators, our heroes. Shelley Hargrove is red, Angel Espinosa is white, and Jenny Butler will be blue. And to facilitate the playthrough, I'm going to be rolling a red, white, and blue die for our initiative and for our movement. And this will give us a direct result for each character in one single roll. For this playthrough, the heroes will be rolling the aqua colored dice, and the Nazis will be rolling the orange. When henchman guards are assigned to a villain, we're going to place them on their card. When Nazi soldiers are deployed, they will be placed on the map, and this helps to differentiate those from being guards or soldiers. We're ready to begin, and we'll start with the initiative phase, and we'll roll our dice and see who has the initiative. All right, we've got a blue 3 and a red and white 1s. All right. So Jenny Butler is going to have the initiative, and Shelley Hargrove and Angel Espinosa will be able to draw events because they rolled a 1 during the initiative phase. Now we'll draw the event cards for the initiative rolls. The card for Shelley Hargrove is Rescue. Plan any hero, including yourself, when they complete a danger. That hero may immediately draw an ally card. Limit 1 victory card per danger completed. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come along. Okay. And the card for Angel Espinosa is Local Trouble, and it says play while in a city during your adventure phase to gain 3 glory. All right. All right, now we're going to move to the move step, and we'll roll for movement. All right, we've got a 6 for Shelley Hargrove, a 3 for Jenny Butler, and 5 for Angel Espinosa. And we'll begin with Jenny Butler. She has the initiative. All right, Jenny is in Los Angeles, California, and she has a total of 3 movement points. And I think we're going to have her move towards the Amazon jungle. See if she can go after the Tears of Shadows. So she's got 3 movement points. We're going to have her move into the Western North Pacific, Western South Pacific, and she will end her turn in the Andes. Next up is Shelley Hargrove. She's the race car driver. Now she begins with a car, so that will give her a +1 to movement each turn. And I think we will just have her move to Eastern Europe and try to locate the Shadow of Medusa. So she's going to move 1, 2, and 3 into Eastern Europe. And finally, we have Angel Espinosa. She has 5 movement points. And I think we will try to have her head for New Zealand. We'll see if she can confront Herr Teufel in his search for the Temple of Power. So she has 5 movement points, and we'll have her move 1 into Mexico, 2 into Western North Pacific, 3 into the Pacific Crossing. She transfers over to the other side of the Pacific Crossing, no cost involved. She spent 3. She'll move 4 into the South Pacific and 5 into New Zealand. All right. All right, now we'll move to the adventure phase, and we'll start with Jenny Butler. Now, Jenny is going to have a land adventure in the Andes, and that's where my new variant is going to kick in. Okay, this is my expanded land and sea adventures. On one side, we have the land, and on the opposite side is the sea adventures. And we're simply going to be rolling a d6, consulting the appropriate table, and then that'll tell us what's happening. On this first chart, we've got land adventures. When you conduct a land adventure, roll on the table below to resolve it. We've got possibilities are enemy ambush, draw and resolve an enemy card, Lost, consult the lost table. Obstacle, consult the obstacle table. Discovery, consult the discovery table. And then we have opportunity, draw an event. Glorious adventure, draw an event card and gain a glory. So those are the options. And basically what I've written here is the game Fortune and Glory is an exciting board game that captures the feel of pulp fiction serials of the late 30s, featuring classic villains, exotic locations, and exciting adventures. One element that felt a bit short is the resolution of land and sea adventures. With this variant, I will attempt to give these adventures more thematic elements and a bit more excitement using only 1 or 2 die rolls to resolve. So we'll consult the land adventure table and make a d6 roll. Result is a 6, and that says glorious adventure. Draw an event and gain a glory. All right. So we'll give Jenny Butler a glory. That's her 4th. She started the game with 3 because of her starlet ability. And her event is Lost Temple. Play immediately. Place a temple onto the board at a random location and draw an adventure card for it. The Lost Temple of, and whatever it is. This extra temple is not replenished when completed. It has a value of 6 with an escape clause of lore 6+ test with 1 success. All right. So we'll draw a location card and find out where this lost temple is going to be. And we've determined it will be in the steppes of Russia. So we're going to place a temple in the steppes of Russia. And we'll place a gray colored marker there, and we'll place the other gray marker on the Lost Temple card, and we'll keep that off to the side. The temple has a value of 6, so we'll place 6 gold coins on the card. All right, next up is Shelley Hargrove. She is currently in Eastern Europe, and she is seeking the shadow of Medusa. It has a value of 3 and will require 3 dangers to be passed to acquire it. Now it has a special condition associated with it. It says after all dangers, you must either take d6 hits or discard an ally that is with you to get the artifact. All right. So our race car driver, Shelley Hargrove, is going to undertake an artifact adventure. And her first adventure is Ancient Trap. Danger, Ancient Trap. It's worth 2 glory. And that reads, the walls here are lined with grotesque stone faces. As you proceed down the hall, you must draw on your knowledge of the ancient culture to determine which are traps to avoid and where it is safe to move. We have to pass a lore 4+ test, and we need 3 successes. Well, unfortunately, Shelley only has a lore value of 2. So she'll be rolling 2 dice for the test, and she's looking for 4s or greater. Here's the roll. And she starts out with 2 successes, so we'll give her 2 success markers, and she can continue rolling as long as she has a success. And she'll do that again. And she's failed. She needed to get at least 1 4, and she did not. So, in this case, she has no cards that she can play that will help her. It's going to turn into a cliffhanger. And she's going to get room filling with sand, and we'll resolve that during the next turn. We'll move on to Angel Espinoza, and she's currently in New Zealand, and she is seeking the Temple of Power. It has a value of 8. It has a collapse rating of 5. And her Teufel has deployed along with his bodyguards in an attempt to get the Temple of Power treasure before she does. All right, her first adventure is Stowaway on a cargo ship. Danger, water, sneak. Glory value of 3. It says wait until no one is looking and slip by in the shadows, or disguise yourself as a dock worker to get aboard and hope they don't ask questions. So we have to solve either an agility 4 plus test requiring 4 successes or a cunning 5 plus test requiring 2. Well, Angel has a cunning of 3 and an agility of 3, so it won't matter. I think she's going to attempt the agility test. It's going to be a little harder, but it's an easier number to acquire. 4 is a lot easier than a 5. So she's going to get 3 dice for the test. That is her agility, and we'll see how she does. And she has no successes. Oh no. All right, it's going to go into a cliffhanger, and it will become Cargo Hold Rampage. And this is going to involve a fight with an animal. Okay, we'll move on to the villain phase, and we'll start with a villain event draw. The card is revealed to be Vile Tactics. Roll once on the Vile Organization's Tactics chart and move the villain track 1 step forward. Only the ruthless would be so bold. Okay. So we'll make a roll on the Nazi Tactics chart. Result is a 5, and that says occupation. The Nazis have started pushing their way into nearby cities as a show of force. Place a Nazi occupation marker in any city that is touched by a space with a Nazi soldier figure in it. These cities have become occupied by the Nazis. All right. Well, fortunately for us, there is no city that is touched by a space with a Nazi soldier. The only Nazi soldier on the board is in the Caribbean. That's an island. So there's no cities that touch that. So we're going to advance the villain track by 1, and it rests at 1 now. All right, next is the outpost and Zeppelin step. So we're going to roll a die for each secret base on the board. We have 1 currently. On a 4, 5, or 6, we're going to place a Nazi soldier figure in a random location. All right, here is the roll. Result is a 6, so that will be happening. We'll be placing a soldier. And we'll be placing that soldier in Russia. So we'll place a Nazi soldier in Russia. Next, we'll take care of the Zeppelin step. We're going to draw a location card, and that will be the target location for the Zeppelin. And its target is the heart of Africa. So that's going to be down here. Heart of Africa, here. Okay. We're going to make a die roll and check the movement points available to the Zeppelin. If it can reach that location during this turn, it'll deploy a Nazi soldier there. Here is its movement. It rolled a 2. So the most that it can move would be 2 points to enter into South Africa. So it does not reach the heart of Africa. And finally, the villain adventure step. Well, we've got Herr Teufel deployed to New Zealand, and he's seeking the Temple of Power. All right, Herr Teufel has a search ability of 4. So Herr Teufel is entitled to 4 dice for his searching for artifacts attempt, but Angel Espinosa is in the same space, and he's going to get a -1 to his search ability. Problem is he has bodyguards, and that is going to nullify that advantage that the heroes get for being in the same space. So at this point, he will be rolling 4d6. So as long as those bodyguards remain, he won't be affected by other heroes in his space. Okay, here is his roll. He's going to get a success on a 4, 5, or 6, but he's going to take wounds on 1s. Here is his roll. All right, he has 3 successes. That will give him 3 successes against the Temple of Power. He's going to be able to trade the 3 fortune that he just got from that temple and move the villain track up 1. It's up to 2 now. And I just spotted an oversight. With the revised temple rules, it says that whenever a hero goes into a cliffhanger from a danger, they must roll for temple collapse. And in the case of Angel Espinosa, she is in a cliffhanger, cargo hold rampage. So we're going to have to make a roll for her. The collapse number for that temple is 5, so she'll be rolling 5 dice. And what will happen is for every 1 or 2, we're going to place a collapse marker on that temple. Okay, so here is the roll. And she's rolled 2 2s. So we're going to place 2 collapse markers on the Temple of Power. And that says, if the temple ever has collapse markers equal to or greater than its danger value, the temple immediately collapses and any heroes there must try to escape. All right, next up is Dr. Tressa von Falkenberg, and she's currently at the Reich Chancellery Building in Berlin. She is in a ready condition. So she's going to deploy to the most valuable artifact on the board that does not have a villain in it, and that's going to be the Tears of Shadows, located in the Amazon. So we're going to give her 2 bodyguards, and she is going to deploy to the Amazon. Now, the Amazon is a deep jungle, and she has to explore those deep jungles just as we do. And that'll take place during her next turn. So the villain track currently is at 2, and when that gets to 15, we're going to lose. We need to somehow acquire 30 fortune. We're going to begin with another round, and we will roll for initiative. And we'll see what happens. All right, got a tie between blue and white, so we'll re-roll those, have a roll-off. And in this case, white, which is Angel Espinosa, is going to be our first player. Next, we'll roll for movement. And these are the move rolls we have. A 1 for Angel, a 4 for Shelley, and a 5 for Jenny Butler. Angel rolled a 1, so she's entitled to an event card draw. And she draws the event Too Close. Play to force a test just rolled to be entirely re-rolled. This may be used on yourself or another hero or a villain. And it says almost there. Okay, we'll give that to Angel. All right, Angel Espinosa is currently in a cliffhanger, so she won't be able to move this turn. She's going to have to stay in New Zealand. All right, Jenny Butler is in the Andes. She has 5 movement points, and I think she is going to move into the Amazon jungle, and she's going to confront Dr. Tressa. Now, this is a deep jungle, and during the adventure portion of the turn, we're going to have to roll for exploration to see if she can find the site. And lastly, we have Shelley Hargrove. She has 4 movement points, but she is also in a cliffhanger, and she'll have to resolve that during the adventure portion of the turn. All right, Angel Espinosa is in a cliffhanger, and this is the Cargo Hold Rampage. Cliffhanger Fight Animal, 3 glory. An exotic animal they were bringing back in the cargo hold has gotten loose, and it seems angry. She has to resolve either a combat 5+ test with 3 successes or a cunning success 6+ with 1 success. Well, Angel has a combat value of 4, so I think we're going to attempt to combat the creature. All right, so she's going to be able to roll 4 dice, and she's looking for 5s or greater. She needs 3 successes to defeat this. Okay, here is the roll. And she has 2 successes so far. So we will mark her with 2 success tokens. And she can continue rolling. And she has 2 more successes. And that means she has solved the cargo hold rampage. She's instantly going to earn 3 glory, and then she can decide whether she wants to proceed on or stop and rest. Now that success is also going to earn her 1 fortune. That's our first fortune that has been earned in the game. We need 29 more, and there's 4 fortune left at the temple. So Angel's choices are to press on or to stop and rest. I think she's going to press on, but in order to do that, she has to evade Herr Teufel and his bodyguards. So to sneak past Herr Teufel, we have to select a sneak path, and that's going to be a number between 1 and 6. Then we're going to roll Herr Teufel's search rating, and for every result that equals the number we chose, we have to fight a round of combat against him. Angel is going to select search path 4. So for every 4 that Herr Teufel will roll, we're going to have to fight a round of combat against him. And here is his search for Angel Espinosa. He's rolled 4 3s, so he hasn't found her, and she's able to evade him, and now she can continue with another danger. And she draws the Danger Deadly Puzzle. Danger Ancient Puzzle has 5 glory. The stones are beginning to move faster and faster. Decipher the glyphs before the mechanism completes its cycle. She has to do a lore 5+ test, and this test is going to be a deadly test, meaning we have to get all these successes in a single roll of the dice. The advantage we do have is during deadly tests, our characters can double exert. They can take 2 wounds to themselves and roll an extra die in an attempt to pass the test. All right, let's see how she does. This is going to be tough for her. She has a lore value of 2 only. Well, she has 1 success. All right, I think she is going to attempt to double exert. So we're going to give her 2 wounds. That'll move her up to 2 wounds out of her 5 capacity, and she'll be able to roll an extra die in an attempt to pass this. Here's the roll. She's failed. She's rolled a 1. She's going to attempt the double exert once again. That'll move her wounds up to 4 out of 5, and she gets to roll 1 more time. Here is the roll. And she's failed. She's going to go into a cliffhanger. And her cliffhanger is snakes. So not a very good start for Angel Espinosa. We'll move on now to Jenny Butler. She is currently in the Amazon. All right, Jenny is going to have to do some exploration. So we're going to give her an exploration token, and she's going to roll a d6 for each of those. And if she can get a 4, 5, or 6, she will have found the adventure site. If not, she will become lost. Here's her roll. She's rolled a 4, so she has found the location, and that is the Tears of Shadows. Now, the War Zeppelin is adjacent to her location. And it has a special ability called Shadow of the Zeppelin. Any Nazi enemies and villains in the same space or adjacent to the War Zeppelin get +2 fight dice. So if it ends up we have to fight, that War Zeppelin will be an advantage to the Nazis. Okay, she's going to take her first danger for the Tears of Shadows. And the danger reads, Confrontation at the Docks. Danger, sneak, water, mob. Has a glory value of 4. Following the goons to the docks, you quickly realize they're shipping more than just simple crates. She's going to have to perform an agility 5+ test and a cunning 4+ test, or she has to fight mobsters. Those are the choices. Now, Jenny has the competitive ability. It says gain +2 fight dice against any mob or female enemy or villain, and has +2 adventure dice on any mob or femme fatale test. So this is a mob test. So she's going to gain +2 to her abilities. And we're going to start out with the agility test. She has an agility of 3, and with that bonus that she has for competitive, that'll move it up to 5. So she'll roll 5 dice for the test. She needs only 1 success. Here's the roll. She's done it. She's got 3 successes. So she's completed the first part. Now she has to do the cunning test. Jenny has a cunning of 3. With the +2 now, because of the mob, she'll once again be rolling 5 dice. And she needs 4s in this case. She needs 2 successes to complete this danger. And she has 3 successes. More than enough to complete that danger. So now she has to decide if she wants to take the glory and rest, or if she chooses to press on. And I think with the consideration of the War Zeppelin where it is, she's just going to take the 4 glory and she will rest. That's going to move Jenny up to a total of 5 glory, and that will end her turn. All right, we're going to move on to Shelley Hargrove now. She is in a cliffhanger. Room filling with sand. Cliffhanger trap blocked. Glory 3. The doors are sealed, and sand has begun to pour into the room from holes near the ceiling. Find some way to shut off the mechanism before you are buried alive. She has to either pass a lore 4+ test with 5 successes, or a cunning 5+ test with 2. Well, Shelley only has a lore value of 2, so I think she's going to be taking the cunning test. And that's going to award her 3 dice for the test. And we'll see if she has any special abilities that'll help her. And she does not. So it looks like she'll have to rely only on her cunning. All right, let's see if we got that in frame. Yes, we do. Okay, so here is her test. She needs 5s and she needs 2 successes. Here we go. She has 1 success. So we'll give her a success token and she can continue to roll. And she's done it. She's got a 6, that'll complete it. And she'll earn a danger token towards completing the Shadow of Medusa. Her choice is to camp down and take the glory or push on. I think she's going to push on. The Shadow of Medusa only requires 3 dangers to be completed. And I almost forgot, this was actually a cliffhanger, so she earns the glory instantly for completing that. We'll give her 3 glory. And she is still going to press on. Her next danger is Ancient Puzzle. Danger, Ancient Puzzle. Glory 2. The gears are beginning to move. Decipher the ancient puzzle before it's too late. She has to pass a lore 5+ test and she needs 1 success. Unfortunately, she has a lore value of only 2. So this could be troublesome for her, and here's the roll. She's done it. She's got 2 successes, more than enough to complete the ancient puzzle. That's going to earn her 2nd danger token towards the Shadow of Medusa, and she has to decide if she wants to press on or camp down. I think she's going to press on. If we can solve 1 more, we'll have sufficient danger tokens to capture the Shadow of Medusa. The next danger is Watched from the Shadows. Danger Sneak. Walking through the market streets, You get the strange feeling that you're being watched. Lose yourself in the crowds or create a diversion. She has to attempt either a agility 6+ test or a cunning 6+ test requiring 1 success. Shelley has an an agility of 4, so she'll be taking the agility test. And here is her roll. She needs a 6. And she's failed. All right. Angel Espinoza is going to play the event card Too Close. Play to force a test just rolled to be entirely re-rolled. You may use this on yourself or another hero or villain. So we're going to use that event card, and that will allow Shelley Hargrove to re-roll the test and see if she can get a success. Okay, here is the roll. And she's failed again. All right, she's going to go into another cliffhanger. And this cliffhanger is going to be, you don't belong here. It's going to be a fight. All right, so she's lost the glory that she would have received for the ancient puzzle, and now she's in a cliffhanger. Now we'll move on to the villain phase, and we'll start with a villain event draw. And this one is Dark Rituals. This card plays on the table. While the villains have at least one artifact that is magic, roll a d6 at the start of each villain phase. On a 4, 5, or 6, move the villain track 1 step forward, and this remains in play. So we have to find a way to cancel that if possible. All right, next is the outpost step, and we'll make a roll for the secret base. The result is a 2, so no soldiers will be deployed. We'll move on to the Zeppelin step. All right, the Zeppelin is currently in the South Atlantic, and we'll find out where it is target will be. And in this case, it's got to go to New Zealand. So we'll see if it can reach that. It's going to make a die roll for movement and try to get to New Zealand. Here's the roll. And the roll is a 5. All right, let's see if they can make it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they'll be just a little short. They'll be able to make it to the South Pacific, but no further. All right. And now we have the villain adventure step. And we'll start with Herr Teufel in New Zealand looking for the Temple of Power. Temple of Power has 4 fortune remaining in it. There are 2 of 5 collapse markers on it. So he is going to roll for his search. He has a search value of 4, and he still has 2 bodyguards. So that -1 modifier will not apply. Here is his roll. And he's rolled 4 successes. It's unbelievable. And 4 successes is just enough for him to claim the temple treasure. So he is going to claim 4 fortune. 3 of them will be converted into a move on the villain track, and 1 will be kept in storage. So Herr Teufel is going to collect the temple treasure, and we will put that into his storage. He is going to return back to Berlin victorious, and he is ready for action. And since he has collected that artifact, we're going to move the villain track up 2, moving it up from 3 up to 5, and they are a third of the way they need to be in order to win the game. We'll move on to Dr. Tressa. All right, Dr. Tressa has entered the deep jungles of the Amazon, and she's going to have to make a roll for exploration just as we had to see if she can find the site. So we're going to give her 1 exploration token, and she's going to roll that many dice as she has exploration tokens. She's looking for a 4, 5, or 6 to be successful. And here's her exploration roll. She's rolled a 5, so she has found the site. And she will be able to undertake her danger roll. Tressa has a search value of 4. So she'll be rolling 4 dice for her search test. All right, the Tears of Shadows requires 5 dangers to be completed. So we'll see how she does. And she's rolled 3 successes, and she's going to take 1 wound. So we're going to give her 3 danger tokens towards acquiring that artifact, but she's going to take 1 wound, and that's going to cost her one of her bodyguards. So one of her bodyguards has been removed. It was killed during the search. All right, we'll move on to the end phase, and we have to replenish an artifact. And this time we have the Ring of the Dark Void. Has a value of 4, requires 2 dangers to complete, and as a special condition, after all dangers, you must fight dark creatures to get the artifact. Well, those special conditions only apply to us, not to the villains. We'll find out where this artifact will appear. And it's coming in the Yucatan. Okay. So we'll place one of these green tokens in the Yucatan. Now I should point out, villains have this Dark Rituals card that is active. It remains in play. That says while the villains have at least 1 artifact that is magic, they're going to be rolling a d6 at the start of each villain phase. Well, they have one because currently they have the temple treasure from the Temple of Power. The Temple of Power was a magic artifact. So they will be able to roll at the start of the villain phase to try to move the villain track a step forward. We have to try to get rid of that card. And we'll continue on with another round. And we'll start with the initiative phase. And we'll see who is going to have the initiative for this turn. Okay, our high roll is a 5, and that's going to be Shelley Hargrove. She will have the first player marker. A 1 was rolled for blue, and that's going to be Jenny Butler, and that will entitle her to an event card draw. And she draws the card. Expanding Influence, play immediately. Place a mobster thug into 2 random cities on the board. Limit 1 per space. And then we have to shuffle the event deck. And it says, "This is our turf now. Get used to it." Okay, so we've got to get 2 random cities to place mobsters in. All right. First one is going to be in Shanghai. The second one is in Los Angeles. Okay, so we are going to place some mobsters in Shanghai and Los Angeles. And now we'll make our movement roll. All right, well, a couple people drawing some event cards, and Jenny Butler with 2 movement points. All right. So the event card for Shelley Hargrove is going to be Attacked at Sea. Play while in a sea space during your adventure phase to gain 3 glory. Okay. And the event card for Angel Espinoza is going to be Adventure Gear. Play immediately. Every hero may immediately draw a gear card. Let's gear up. Sounds good. All right, so everybody's going to gain a gear card. That's great. All right, Shelley Hargrove is going to gain a scimitar. +1 to combat. Gain an extra +2 fight dice while in a desert or jungle space. That is great. We'll give that to Shelley. Angel Espinoza has found a wrench. +1 to combat. Discard to cancel an event, villain event, or city card. Well, that's very interesting. We'll give that to Angel. And finally, to Jenny Butler, she's going to gain a lucky lighter. And she can activate this once per turn to re-roll any single die she just rolled. Okay, that is great. I think Angel Espinoza is going to use her wrench. And she's going to discard the active villain event, which is the Dark Rituals card. I think that's a good use for the card. And that came right in time because that card would be activating at the start of the villain phase. Now we'll execute our movements, and we've got Shelley Hargrove as our first player. Now she's in a cliffhanger, and she won't be able to move, so she'll have to remain in Eastern Europe. Same situation for Angel Espinosa. She is in a cliffhanger with snakes, and she's currently in New Zealand. Jenny Butler, however, can move. She has 2 movement points, but I think she's going to remain where she is, and she'll continue in her search for the Tears of Shadows. All right, Shelley Hargrove is in a cliffhanger. This is going to be a fight. It says that she has to draw an enemy's card to fight. For the first round, they gain +2 fight dice, and you are defense 0. Okay, this could be dangerous. And the enemy she's drawn is the Order of the Crimson Hand. It has 2 fight dice and 4 wounds, and it's going to gain a fight dice for each wound that it has taken. So they get progressively more angry as we wound them. So she has to fight this round, and the enemy is going to get a +2 fight dice, and she will be at 0 defense. Now, I think this is going to be kind of a tough fight for Shelley Hargrove. She can attempt to escape. She would need to perform an Agility 5+ test and get 2 successes in order to do so. And Shelley has an Agility of 4, so that might be the better bet. Problem with this is she is going to lose any progress she has towards gaining the Shadow of Medusa. I think she's going to attempt the escape. So we will get out some dice, and she's going to make an agility test. Shelley has an agility of 4, so she can roll 4 dice. She needs to get 5+, and she needs 2 successes. Here's the roll. She has 1 success, so she's going to need 1 more in order to escape. And here's the second part of the agility test. And she's done it. She has the 5. That's 2 successes, and she's managed to escape from the Order of the Crimson Hand, which is great. And that says, if successful, the enemy is discarded without rolling fight dice, and the hero may continue on with their fight, though no glory is gained from the enemy. All right, so that means that she's past that cliffhanger. And that was the "you don't belong here" cliffhanger. So she won't get any glory for that, but she will earn 1 success, 1 danger token towards obtaining that item. And that means she has successfully claimed the item. She has 3 danger tokens, and she's going to gain the Shadow of Medusa. But the Shadow of Medusa has a special condition. It says, after all dangers, you must either take D6 hits or discard an ally that is with you in order to get the artifact. Well, she has no allies, so she's going to have to roll a D6 and take that much damage. She has a defense level of 1, so that will soak up 1 point worth of damage. All right, let's see how much she has to take. She's going to take 2 hits, and she has a defense of 1, so that will reduce that to a single wound. We'll give Shelley a wound, and she's going to gain the Shadow of Medusa. That's great. Okay, we're going to move on to Angel Espinosa. Now, she's in a cliffhanger. Even though the artifact is long gone, she still has to resolve this cliffhanger, and it is snakes. And that says, after the puzzle grinds to a halt, you hear a hissing sound growing louder. She has to complete a cunning 4+ test and unfortunately, this is a deadly test. Now, she already is carrying 4 wounds, so she won't be able to exert during these tests. And she needs to get 3 successes. Her cunning is 3. So she's going to need to get basically 3 successes in order to pass this. And that's going to be a little tough. We'll try it. And she has rolled 2 successes, but not a third. So she's failed the cliffhanger, and that's going to KO her, unfortunately. All right. Now that she's KO'd, we have to roll a die, and she is going to have to surrender. The amount rolled in either gear cards, allies, glory, or fortune. The fortune cannot be lost. We do have 1 in our vault, but she can lose glory. So here's the roll. And she's rolled a 4, and that's going to force her to surrender all of her glory, and she's going to return back to her home city of Mexico City, and she will be in the prone position. All right, we're going to move on to Jenny Butler. She is in the Amazon, and she's searching for the Tears of Shadows. She currently has 1 danger complete of the 5 that she needs to obtain the artifact. Let's see what her danger is. Her danger is gambling den. 2 glory. You find yourself in a smoky back alley gambling den in a high-stakes game of cards. What could possibly go wrong? This has the keywords danger, luck, and mob. Choose a number between 1 and 6. Roll dice equal to your cunning. If any of the dice rolled is your number, the danger is passed. If not, the test is failed, and you would go to a cliffhanger. All right, well, this has the keyword mob. And Jenny Butler gains +2 adventure dice in any mob or femme fatale test. So that's great. Jenny has a cunning value of 3. That'll be increased to 5. And she's going to have to pick a number now, and we need to try to get that number. I think she's going to choose number 5. We'll see if she can roll 5 here. Here is the roll. She's done it. She's got a 5, and that completes the test. It's going to earn her another danger token. It'll be her 2nd towards the 5 she needs. All right, Jenny is not wounded. I think she's going to press on, and she's going to need to try to evade Tressa and her bodyguard. So she's going to have to pick an evasion number. I think this time she's going to choose number 3. Tressa has a search value of 4, so she'll be rolling 4 dice. And for every 3 rolled, we'll have to fight a round of combat against Tressa. Here is the roll. And she's rolled no 3s, so Jenny successfully evades Tressa, and she can continue on with another danger. Her next danger is Alpine Trail. Well, that's not very thematic for the Amazon jungle, but I guess it might be if she was on the western edge of that, possibly in the Andes. I guess it's possible. Danger climbing. The dark forest grows ever colder as you approach the alpine tree line of mountains. She has to perform a agility 5+ test. And that says it will require an extra success if she's in a mountain space. Well, she's not. She's in the jungle. So she is going to have an agility roll of 3. She's got a 3. And we'll see if she can get 5s to complete this. Here's the roll. She's got 1 success. All right. We'll give her a success token. And she can roll again. She needs 1 more. And she's failed. Oh no. Well, she's going to use her lighter. And we can activate that card and re-roll a single die that she just rolled. We'll try it. I'll have her re-roll the 4. Here we go. She's done it. She's got the success. The lighter helped her out, and that's going to earn her another danger token. That is going to be her 3rd. And I think she's going to camp down, and we're going to have her claim the glory for the Alpine Trail and for the gambling den. That's going to give her a total of 5 glory. That's going to move her glory up to 12. And that is going to complete the adventure step. And we'll move on to the villain step, and we'll start with the villain event draw. The card is revealed to be Forbidden Knowledge. Play this card on a random villain in play, and he's going to gain 2 to their wound capacity, and that remains in play. All right, well, we'll roll a die and see which of our 2 characters is going to get the bonus. Odd or even. It's even, so it's going to go to Tressa, and she is going to gain +2 wounds. All right. We'll move on to the secret base roll, and we'll see if the Nazis will deploy troops from the secret base. No, they've rolled a 2, so no deployments from the secret base. We'll move on to the Zeppelin step. All right, the Zeppelin is currently in the South Pacific, and its target location is going to be the Congo. All right, well, we'll see if it can make it there. It's going to roll a d6 for movement and see if it can reach the Congo. It's got 1 movement point, so it's far closest it can get to the Congo is to go into the Forbidden Sea. And that is going to bring that portion of the step to a close. We'll go on to our villain adventure step. All right, Herr Teufel is back at headquarters, and he's ready. So he's going to deploy to the most valuable location on the board that does not have a villain at it. And that's going to be the Sword of the Crimson Hand. That's going to be in Australia. So we will deploy him to Australia, where he will seek that artifact, and he's got his 2 bodyguards with him again. We'll move now to Tressa. She currently has 3 successes towards attempting to find the Tears of Shadows. That requires 5 successes. She has 1 bodyguard remaining. All right, she has a search value of 4, so she'll roll 4 dice, and we'll see if she can acquire the object. And she's done it. She's got 4 successes, and that's more than enough for her to acquire the artifact. She's going to gain the Tears of Shadows, and that's worth 6 fortune. So the villain track is going to move up 2 for acquiring that artifact. That will move it to 7. And since this was a deep jungle, Tressa also will gain 2 fortune. Adding that to her fortune she had from before is 3. That'll move the villain track up again, and it's up to 8. We're not doing very well at all. So with the completed capture of the artifact, Tressa will return to headquarters in Berlin in the ready status, and more than likely she's going to receive an award from the director of the Anernabe for her excellent work. We'll move on to the replenishment phase, and we're going to have to replenish 2 artifacts. First artifact is the Jar of Jargono. It has a value of 3, requiring 4 dangers to complete. And we'll find out where it is on the map, and it's going to the steppes. All right, well, the steppes already has the Lost Temple location. So we'll select another location. This one's the Alps. Okay. So we'll place a yellow artifact marker in the Alps. The next artifact is the Dagger of the Damned. Value of 4, requiring 3 dangers to be passed. It has a curse. After completing each danger here on a roll of d6, on a 1, 2, or 3, we take a wound. We'll find out where the Dagger of the Damned is located. And that is going into Western Europe. So we'll place the orange artifact marker in Western Europe. All right. And so with the completion of that end phase, I think we're going to bring this video to a close. We're not doing very well. So far, the villain track is currently at 8. We do have one artifact that we've recovered. We haven't sold it yet. We only have one fortune towards the 30 we need to win. The mob has taken over Los Angeles and Shanghai, and the Nazis have placed soldiers in Russia, and they have one at their secret base in the Caribbean. So we're going to continue our adventure in episode 2, and I'd like to invite you to join me for that, which will likely be the conclusion. So thanks for joining me at the Solo Gamers Club, and I hope you're enjoying this playthrough of Fortune and Glory, the Cliffhanger game, along with my new Land and Sea adventure table. I look forward to seeing you again on the channel next time as we continue the playthrough. And in the meantime, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.